Daf Kuf Zayin Amud Beis. We'll begin Daf Kuf Zayin Amud Aleph, 2 lines from the bottom at the 2 dots. Samach Lemincha, the Mishnah said on every pace, Samach Lemincha, a person should eat until it's dark. Iboilahu Samach Lemincha Gedoylatanan. So it says Samach Lemincha. What mincha are we referring to? There's Mincha Gedoyla, which means that after 6.5 hours of the day, that's Mincha Gedoyla. And that's the time when, that's in Bein Harabayim, that's the time when it's considered afternoon, and that's the time when we daven mincha. That's the earliest time that the Talmid shel Bein Harabayim, that you can be makriv the Talmid shel Bein Harabayim. And it's Bein Harabayim, it's the afternoon period of time when the mitzvah is for the Korban Pesach. The Korban Pesach is, we're makriv after the Talmid shel Bein Harabayim. But that is a time of day when we're makriv the Korban Pesach. So what is the point of the Mishnah saying that we don't eat? Is it saying Samach Lemincha means Mincha Gedoyla? And the reason why we say you shouldn't eat is because it's Samach Lemincha Gedoylatan, and therefore it shouldn't be because in Korban Pesach, Samach Lemincha Ketana Tana. Or is the Mincha we're referring to as Mincha Ketana is the second half of the afternoon. Meaning we break up the afternoon into 2 portions, and perhaps it's Samach Lemincha Ketana, which is Mincha Ketana is at 9.5 hours of the day. So it's Samach Lemincha Ketana, which would be meaning you don't eat from 9 hours of the day. Is it Samach Lemincha Gedoyla? Mincha Gedoyla is at 12:30 on an average day in a day where it's 12-hour day, meaning it's after. Mincha Gedoyla is after 6.5 hours a day. Samach would be 6 hours of the day. Or is it Mincha Ketana? Is it Samach Lemincha Gedoyla Tanan Mishum Pesach? And the reason to us eating is called the Korban Pesach, because we're afraid that if he has a meal, he'll be preoccupied with his meal, and therefore he won't be Mekayim the Korban Pesach, and therefore we say he shouldn't eat. And as Taisus points out, even if after he's makriv the Korban Pesach, it still would be also. It's not only before that, but we don't allow him to eat because if he hasn't yet been makriv the Korban Pesach, we're afraid he won't. And even if he is makriv the Korban Pesach, maybe he'll rush through the Korban Pesach in order to get to his meal, and we're afraid he won't do the Korban Pesach, he won't do the mitzvah properly. So we answer him eating Samach Lemincha Gedoyla for the entire afternoon on account of the Korban Pesach. Dilma also Mimshach was a concern that he'll be involved with the Korban Pesach, and he'll get involved in it and preoccupied, and he won't do the mitzvah properly. Vasal Menuil Meva Pescha, and he'll become preoccupied, and he therefore won't do the Korban Pesach, will refrain from doing the Korban Pesach, or refrain from doing it properly. Is that the pshat? Oy Dilma, perhaps it's Samach Lemincha Ketanatan. Or no, it's not a concern of the Korban Pesach. That's not the concern. We're not concerned that he won't be involved with the Korban Pesach. Maybe the concern is he won't eat at nighttime. He won't eat the matzah properly. It's Samach Lemincha Ketana. It's at 9 hours of the day. We're afraid if he eats a meal late in the afternoon, then he will be so full, and he won't eat the matzah properly. He won't be mekayim the mitzvah of matzah properly. We're afraid that he might come to eat the matzah and achila gasa. Achila gasa, as the Rishonim point out, there's 2 definitions of achila gasa. One is if the person is so full that eating any more to him it becomes repulsive, then that's not even called an achil. Therefore, if he eats so much in the afternoon to that extent, then you won't even be mekayim the mitzvah of achilas matzah, because the eating would be so repulsive, it's not considered achila. That's one definition. Another definition is it's not to that extent. However, if he's full and he doesn't have an appetite, so then we're afraid that he won't eat the matzah b'te'oven. He won't eat it with relish. He won't eat it hungrily, enthusiasm, and therefore we say don't eat because we want you to be mekayim the mitzvah achilas matzah behidur, to be mekayim it in the best possible way. The Rishonim question, why does it say because of achilas matzah? Why don't we say because of achilas Pesach, the Korban Pesach? He has to eat the Korban Pesach at night, Why don't we say that is it because of the asiyah of the Korban Pesach? We're afraid if he eats, he won't be mekayim the hakrov of the Korban Pesach properly or at all, and therefore it's from Mincha Gedola. Or is it for the achila of the Korban Pesach? The Rishbam explains, for meat, we're less concerned because he has more of an appetite to eat the meat. But perhaps he'll eat so much that to eat matzah, he won't have appetite to eat the matzah. So is that the concern? And therefore, the question is the Isser Achila, is it prior to Mincha Gedola, prior to the 6.5 hours of the day? Meaning, is it at the end of the 6th hour of the day? Or is it prior to Mincha Ketana, 9.5 hours of the day, meaning at 9 hours of the day? Omer Ravina Chashmal, let's bring a ride from the following. Even Agrippas HaMelech, who normally ate his first meal of the day at 9 hours, not after the 9 hours, but he ate it at 9 hours of the day, meaning between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock on a standard day, a 12-hour day. So that's when he ate his first meal. Nevertheless, but on Erev Pesach, he can't eat until nighttime, even though it's his first meal of the day. Now, if you tell me that the Isser that in our Mishnah, what we're discussing is Samach L'Mincha Ketana, it means after the 9 hours of the day, Ein Revusa D'Agrippus. That's the Chiddush of Agrippus, that even though it's not yet Chal, the Zman HaIsur, it's before Samach L'Mincha Ketana. Nevertheless, he can't eat, since his meal will be extending into this Shas Yisr, he can't eat. But if you tell me that the Yisr in the Mishnah is Samach L'Mincha Gedola, so what's the Yisr, what's the Chiddush of Agrippus? My Revusa D'Agrippus. Chal Yisr L'Mikor. The Yisr is Chal Samach L'Mincha Gedola. So after 6 hours of the day, it's already also to eat. So of course Agrippus can't eat. Of course he can't eat in the 9th hour. It's already also from before in Samach L'Mincha Gedola. So therefore, doesn't that prove that it's Samach L'Mincha Ketana? Somewhere says, Ma'ala Samach L'Mincha Ketana Tanan. You mean to say that it's a raya that it's Samach L'Mincha Ketana, it's safe, but still, what's the Chiddush? My Revusa D'Agrippus. How much Zmani Surah? But what's the Chiddush of Agrippus? The Zman of Isser is going to come before he's finished the meal. It's going to be the Zman Isser, and therefore he'll be eating during the Zman Isser. So safe, he'll be eating during the Zman Isser. And as Rashbam points out, even though Rav Yossi said that if you start the meal before the Zman Isser and extends through into the Zman Isser, you can continue eating, but not if you know that it's going to come to and you anticipate that it's going to come into the Zman Isser. So this was the standard meal of Agrippus. So how could he eat knowing that it's going to extend into the Shas Yisr? Where it says no. Mao, the same, really I'll tell you that it's over here, it's a raya that it's Samach L'Mincha Ketana. What's the Chiddush of Agrippus? Because Mao, the same Atesha Shoes L'Agrippus Karba Shoes Didondam. You might think for Agrippus this doesn't apply that he won't be able to eat L'Tayovan, or that he'll eat Achila Gas. It doesn't apply to him, because his eating at 9 hours a day, you might say, is equivalent to anybody else eating in the morning, eating breakfast. This is his first meal. And his normal Seder Yom is, and that's his first meal, and he eats a second meal in the evening. And it's not a problem for him. It doesn't interfere with his Teyovan. So you might think Agrippus eating at the 9th hour is equivalent to us eating in the morning, which is mutter, and therefore there should be no issur for him. And therefore you might think it's mutter kamashmalan, that it's also for Agrippus, or for somebody who has that kind of Seder Hayom, that he eats his meals at those times. But I'll go upon him, you do have a right. You see that the Chiddush over here, that the underlying reasoning for the issur is so that you should be able to eat l'teyovan. And therefore, since that's the reason that you should be able to eat l'teyovan, the issur is Samach L'Mincha Ketana, not Samach L'Mincha Gedola. Even though we said that you can't eat, and you can't eat a meal, but you can snack. So you can eat minei targima, you can have dips. It's a snack, as they used to dip things and have it as a snack, that's mutter. Rabbi Yitzchak matbel biyarki used to dip vegetables. Tanya namahachi hashamash matbel b'vnei me'ayim v'noisen l'vnei orachim. He used to dip the b'nei me'ayim, the intestines, and give it before the guests. V'afal b'shein ra'ila dover zecher l'dover, if it does no right, there's a zecher. The pasuk says, Shenema nir lachem nir aval tizru el kaitzim. Plow for yourselves a furrow and don't plant the thorns. Meaning, if you want to plant properly, if you want to be zereh properly, first you have to plow properly. Therefore, it said, therefore, it want to eat properly at night, l'te'ovan, it actually helps to eat l'te'ovan, to eat a little bit beforehand. Eating a little bit beforehand will stimulate the appetite for the nighttime. And on that basis, the Rishonim say that when we said that aval matbelhu b'minei targima, that it's mutter to snack, so one pshat is it's mutter to snack, and we're not afraid that that will interfere with your eating at night and it won't be l'te'ovan. But according to this, it's pshat is even more than that. You snack in the afternoon, it will stimulate your appetite for the evening, and you'll eat it with more te'ovan. You'll eat the matzah b'te'ovan. Rava would drink wine erev Pesach. Why is that? So that it would stimulate his appetite. He'll be able to eat matzah, more matzah at nighttime. What's my raya? That wine stimulates the appetite. It's not we learned in the Mishnah, between the cups, between the first and second cup, and the second and third cup. If he wants to drink other wine, if he wants to drink other cups, he could. But not between the third and fourth cup. So between the first and second and third, he can drink. He can drink, but between the third and fourth cup, he can't drink because it'll look like he's moisef ala kaisef, that he's adding to the kaises. Now, vi amrat misad soid, if you say that drinking the wine will fill him up and satiate him, then he won't be able to eat properly. Amay yishta? Why would we allow him to drink? We should be afraid that he's going to eat the matzah achilagasa, and either won't be an achil or won't be l'te'ovan. El shma mino mirgagar. You see from here that the wine actually stimulates the appetite. Now, so what's the pshat? So if we say that the wine stimulates the appetite, there should be no problem. But why is there a problem between the third and fourth kaises? Because it's near kamaisiv ala kaises. So why isn't that a problem between the first and second and third? Because of this reason. Since the wine stimulates the appetite and he has a mitzvah to eat the matzah, we allow him to do it between these kaises. And that overrides that it's maisiv ala kaises. But between the third and fourth, after the third cup already, he's benched. He's not eating any more matzah. There's no reason to stimulate the appetite. Here we have the concern that he's meisav ala kaisais. The Rishalmi gives another reason. He says that Rishalmi's reason is because really we would allow it, but we're afraid that if he drinks after the third cup, he'll have drunk so much, we're afraid he'll get intoxicated and he won't say the halal properly. That's why we ask for it.